Welcome everyone to DCPA 2020 LinkedIn Live with Adam Massia of MindBridge. Adam, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having us.
Fantastic. We're glad to have you here. Everyone, this week we are highlighting sponsors and partners for the 2020 Digital CPA Conference and the December 3rd A&A Track Learning Labs. So with that, Adam, would you please share some information about MindBridge?
Yeah, absolutely. So MindBridge is a company that was founded out of Ottawa, Canada, back in 2015. We've expanded globally now. We have employees all over the globe, from California to Australia. And what we do is we work primarily with public accounting firms to help them involve the use of data, specifically through the use of AI and machine learning algorithms, into their A&A practices. So our goal is to just build confidence in our users to help them ensure that they're making the right decisions when it comes to planning and executing their audit engagements.
Awesome. You know, that's something that's definitely needed with this day and age, with all the technology changes, and there's so many spaces. I've done a little bit of research myself on MindBridge, and you guys are doing fantastic work over there. As a DCPA sponsor, though, what are you looking forward to sharing with participants this year?
Yeah, first and foremost, I think it's engaging with the people in the community. It's really interesting to hear kind of from boots on the ground what they're seeing, and how they really want to actually evolve their practices. We, as a technology provider, and with the number of CPAs that we have in-house, have an idea of where we think we should be with the future of audit. But there is really no comparison to hearing firsthand from people that are in the industry day in, day out, the problems they're trying to solve and how we can help them do that. We'd also obviously like to share some advancements in product with us to help them understand where we're headed as a company, and how we could potentially be a part of some of that change that will hopefully be sweeping the industry in the coming years.
That's fantastic. I mean, and I 100% agree with you there. I mean, for all of us, even us in the profession here who are working together, we all learn from each other, and we can learn more just by simply talking to each other and talk about the problems we have, and let's come together to solve those. So I'm thinking about MindBridge here in that many companies are focusing on emerging technologies. And so when we think about MindBridge, what are you guys doing around the emerging technologies focused on A&A as it relates to what you guys are doing? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, for sure. So our platform was built on a core set of algorithms that essentially automate how you identify risk within your general ledger. And now we're moving to other types of analyses and sub-ledger analysis. So really, the core focus is that we want to help people identify risk and plan audits better. But there is, some application of those same technologies to other areas of the practices as well. We've seen some people that use in kind of more a continuous risk monitoring, if you'd want to call it, or maybe an outsourced internal audit type function, where you would be providing that oversight for your client. And there's also some application there as well to forensic type investigations, and just being able to spot anomalies and areas of risk that may or may not be fully known to the people involved.
Yeah, risk is definitely something that is really bubbling up to the forefront of all industries at this point. There's a lot going on as the advent of technology increases. Risk is definitely something that happens. We have good and bad actors out there, and so we've got to make sure that we're prepared for that. So I've got a two-part question for you. So one, the first part, what excites you most about being a part of the digital CPA community? And B, about the accounting profession today?
Yeah, so I think I have multiple parts to your two-part question, so I'm going to try and do this and break it down in the right way. So the first part, specifically within the community, I think I'll echo what I said before about talking to the individuals that are boots on the ground. We spend a lot of time talking with customers, but it's also great to hear people that are maybe more resistant to that change and really understand how we come together as a profession to move some of these things forward, realizing that, like it or not, these types of technologies are going to be embedded in your practices within the next couple of years. So really just getting that full picture of where, maybe different size firms are at in their journey is really exciting. The other part of that is just looking at how other companies are taking advantage of different trends, right? And it doesn't even necessarily need to be in the same space that we are, but just in the entire accounting ecosystem, what other vendors are doing to advance other problems within audit, whether it be document sharing or, workflow or practice management. There's a lot of improvements that can be made and some interesting technologies that are coming out that are all in this one central place for us this year to kind of keep an eye on. So it's also great to just talk to other vendors. The second part to that, which is about the accounting profession itself, is actually just the opportunity that exists for firms to kind of reinvent themselves today. With the emergence of technology and, especially since the kind of disruption to our typical working model due to COVID-19, firms have been forced to really change the way that they're operating. And what that has allowed them to do is either provide, different types of services that maybe weren't necessarily contemplated before outside of your typical, assurance or compliance type engagement. But it's also improving, I would say, the quality of the experience for both staff, especially the younger generation that are coming on that, might have had some sort of expectation of what they would have been doing coming into the firm. They're now starting to see different areas of practice that maybe they wouldn't have before because, there's urgent client needs that are available. And then, the last part to that, young staffing model as well, is that we're physically changing the way that we're working. For that younger generation that wants to adapt and is more comfortable working from the road or in a coffee shop or something like that, I think it's an exciting time for the firm to reach out to younger talent and restore that pipeline of people that are interested in providing these services.
Absolutely. And to that last point, you're 100% correct. I mean, in the profession, there's been conversation and discussion and movement towards that for a bit of time. We're very much remote, and with everything that's happened with this wild year that we've had with COVID, everything's kind of moved at an even faster pace. Technology was already moving quickly. Everything else, remote work, working anywhere, being flexible, mobile, has been a huge thing. So last question for you. So as this I can't understate wild, but this wild and this formative year winds down, and we're taking a look towards 2021 next year, right? Next month. What is one of the trends that has developed this year that will benefit the area of audit and assurance that our profession overall should seize and really grab hold of?
Yeah, so I'm going to show my bias here in the use of data analytics, and not even necessarily in what we do, right? Just generally the use of analytics as a core function of your service and not necessarily just a bolt-on to be a type of procedure. We spend a lot of time trying to convince people about thinking on how you can actually deliver a different client experience by putting analytics at the forefront of your audit rather than making it kind of an afterthought. So yeah, I think that's a really exciting theme for a couple of reasons. The first one is it's a huge opportunity actually for newer professionals to come in and embrace a technology that could be exciting to them that traditionally hasn't been in an accountant's toolkit, if you want to say it that way. So for people that are, newly energized and new to the industry who want to kind of pick up something and run with it and own it at their firm, I think there's a lot of opportunity for career advancement to kind of, make your mark early with being that analytics resource within your company. And then secondly, how do you reimagine the client experience so that the procedures that you're performing aren't kind of, basically providing them that same audit experience? How do you provide more value when you're working with your clients? And I think there's a lot of misconceptions around there that audit time has to be this kind of to-do item, and that there's maybe not necessarily as much value in it. It's compliance driven. But I think there's a real opportunity to take analytics and flip that on its head and bring some value back to clients by, just changing the way that you're doing it and providing them some additional insights that they might not otherwise have had the opportunity to get.
Absolutely. I think there's a plethora of opportunity out there for the profession and for even other industries. So I'd like to thank you, Adam, for joining us today. And I'd like to thank all of you who are watching. Thank you. And check out MindBridge's Learning Lab on Thursday, December 3rd from 1 to 5 Eastern Time. And make sure you chat with them at the 2020 Digital CPA Resource Center. Thanks, everybody, for your time today, and enjoy the day.